Good morning, folks. Alex Valencia here with We Do Web Content. I'm honored to have two awesome friends and gentlemen with me today, and we're going to be talking about business and the current environment after the coronavirus and during it, how we can get through it. But first, I'd like to introduce a good friend, personal friend, a long-time agency partner, and a person that's been huge in the industry, been in legal since 1978, been in the agency world for 45 years, going on 45 years. Harlan Schillinger, who's been great to me as a friend, as a business leader, as a mentor. Also I'd like to introduce Jason Hennessey, who's a strategic partner of mine, also a personal friend I've known for over a decade. Together we do a lot of amazing things for law firms and businesses. Jason's a serial entrepreneur, dad, just an all-around great guy. And today we're going to be talking about how we can help the businesses, how we can be optimistic, what the thoughts are out there. We'd love to hear back from you and see exactly how we could help, but kind of seeing where would we go, what's happening right now, and how we should take it from three good guys.
Great. Well, I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys are great guys. I love working with you, and you got a good grip on business, and you do really great work. And so we've been friends, and we do business together. And I guess we're here to talk about what's going on in the marketplace, because there's absolutely no question we are in an unprecedented arena right now. Should we compare this to to the depression and the crash of '31? I don't think so. I mean, we could. It's a pandemic which is national, international, and we're in some serious issues. On the other hand, there are tremendous opportunities, and people are still going to, need a lawyer. They're still going to be in business. We're all in business, and I hate to say there's some tremendous opportunities. We're in good times. We're not. But the opportunities are abounding if you have the right frame of mind. And that's a fact.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I mentioned early before we got on and hit record that we're three optimistic guys, right? But everybody doesn't kind of see the world like we see it. There's people out there that are wondering, do they lay off some staff? They're not set up to work remotely. What do they do with their advertising budgets? Do they pull TV a little bit? Do they pull pay-per-click a little bit? And we've got clients that are kind of doing both, right? We've got clients that are putting the pedal to the metal right now and seeing this as an opportunity. And then there's clients that are just kind of slowing things down just temporarily, like suspending large pay-per-click budgets for 3 weeks at a time, right?
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's definitely a mixed bag. What's out there. I mean, the truth is you've got to absolutely pay attention to your business. And one of the criteria that I think you should be aware of, or people that are listening to this, is it's so important right now to see how people are consuming information.
Right.
Because we're in the communication business, we're in the the advertising world, which we, it's kind of like fishing. We throw a line in the water. We got to have the right bait. We got to understand what kind of fish we're looking at. And so I think it's about consumption. And if you can figure out how people are consuming information, you have to then figure out what's the message. And I think that's where we should begin.
Exactly, I agree. And you and I kind of touched on this yesterday a little bit when we decided to do this call and video. The consumer is going to be in front of media for a very long time now, for at least a minimum of a month from what we're hearing. And it's a good opportunity from what I think is to create something that is speaking to them. And you mentioned two great ways to do that. It all depends on the personality of the client on which way they wanted to go with it. But I think right now is the time to be in front of them, whether it be digitally or through television or through radio, because people are going to media and they're spending so much more time there right now.
I hate to say this, opportunity is a tough word. You have to stay in business, and unless you're ready to pack up and move on. But if you intend on being in business, then you have to address these issues. And I will always approach this as the glass is half full. You can look at it any way you want, but we're in a survival mode. Many businesses that are in a survival mode prosper when they come out of it. And so you got to position yourself. Now's not the time to cut everything out. Maybe re-message. What are you hearing from your clients?
Everybody's feeling it, right? I think it's systemic. People are not living their normal lives, and they're not doing the same. For us as a digital marketing agency, they're not searching for the same things that they were searching for 2 weeks ago, right? So it is, they're feeling it. I wouldn't say businesses dropped to zero, right? But it's going to affect cash flow, especially for personal injury lawyers, right? If we're talking specifically about personal injury lawyers, because the stuff that they're doing now, they still got cash flow from 18 months of clients, right? The stuff that's happening right now, they won't start to feel for 6 months, a year down into the future, right? With settlements and things like that. And for us, like, I look at it like this, if you just abruptly stop what you're doing right now, from an SEO perspective, they say that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago or today, right? And so, the content that you're writing today and publishing today is going to impact your business, not today in an SEO perspective, but in 6 months from now. And then that's going to continue to compound and grow. So I would say the people that are listening, if you're quarantined in your house, find somebody to do this, interview you every day for 2 hours and talk about topics, and get the videos recorded and then get them transcribed, and then start creating an abundance of content that you can start putting out on your website. Answer all the questions that people have asked your law firm over the years, and just start doing this every day and getting the content, start publishing it, because all of this is, while people are pulling back budgets, in 6 months from now, you'll have a competitive advantage.
It's kind of interesting you say that, because I caught the Tonight Show a couple of times this week, and Jimmy Fallon is doing it remotely.
I saw that.
I watched the Today Show, and you got Al Roker sitting in his kitchen, delivering the weather. So you adapt. So when we talked earlier about, look at how people are consuming information, it's interesting. My suggestion, if a person doesn't have a nickel or can't rub two sticks together right now, and I don't mean that in a negative or condescending way, it's a factual way, use your iPhone to send out messages. I mean, that's raw, in the trenches, movers. But the truth of it is that it's effective. And you've got to keep yourself, and you got to find your way to keep yourself in front of people. And I think we would all agree on that. The tactics may change throughout this process here, but keeping yourself in front of people is the conversation. And how do we do that? And what's the mental state of mind, of people? The biggest gains that many corporations made were during the Depression. You take a company like Johnson & Johnson, J&J, who are battling in court today, made huge gains in market share. Wonder Bread, huge market share, because their competitors were sitting on the side floundering or holding their own, but they weren't out in front of people's faces. So the trick is, how do you stay out in front?
Yeah, right. I'm gonna share my screen for just a second, because I just, like I say, I'm optimistic. You guys are optimistic, and there's reasons for that, right? Here, if we look at the stock market, can you guys see that?
Yep.
If we look at the stock market dating back to 1988, right? You see the climbs here, fall off a cliff, right? SARS, right? All of the different viruses that have come out, it just continues to grow, right? Sure, there's going to be some ebbs and flows in life, but if history repeats itself, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's tough to tell somebody right now that's facing a cash flow problem because they're panicking because their phones are not ringing. You know, the elephant in the room in this conversation is business, and the elephant in the room for me is that if people are staying home and they're not traveling and we're confined to our homes, they're not driving, therefore they're getting into accidents, and that's really
that's it. Yeah, that's
and so, you know, at this time, you know, my strategy is to suggest to my clients that it's a perfect time to pay attention to your business. I did a webcast podcast the other day, and we talked seriously about opportunity and retooling. But it's the process. Retool the process. This is the time to retool it. Now, I know there's a lot of distractions. People are working at home. You know, how do you do this? How do you do that? But you've got to work on your business, and you've got to come out of this thing in a better position than you started. And it's about the process, and it's about, you know, streamlining your business and scaling your business and making your business stronger. So when the dam bursts, you know, when this is over, and it could be over in 3 weeks, could be over in 5 weeks, but it's not going to be over. It is going to be over, and we're going to have an explosion of opportunity when it's over. So he who is most positioned will win. You know, you use the word catch up. What was the phrase that you used, Jason?
Optimistic? I can't remember.
What about the tree?
Oh, the planting the tree. Yeah, you planted the tree 20 years ago.
You know, wouldn't we have liked to buy Google stock in 1996?
Tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of these things. But anyway, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that business is off coming into offices. So what do we do?
Say that again. The elephant in the room is what? The elephant
in the room is business is not coming into our clients' offices. So what do we do?
Well, first thing is, you know, you got to manage your overhead, right? You know, and I think that the government is trying to step in and help out there by pushing extensions and stuff like that with taxes and rents and things like that, right? So hopefully that if we can kind of delay some of those expenses over the next 90 days, that'll help. You know, I think people are letting some of their staff go, right? I mean, if you don't have the cash flow to support the staff, you might be losing good people. That's not good. You know, I think, like you said, I think you need to just be a good. Michael Mogul is doing a really good job with his daily videos that he's been creating, right? I'm not sure if you guys have been watching that from Chris video. You know, he's just kind of addressing it. You know, he's just being real, and you know, every time he goes on the goes live on Facebook, he's just authentic about it, right? You know, I think that's what we need is just people being more authentic about this. Like you said, Jimmy Kimmel is broadcasting from his home. Like that is so authentic. Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, it's just so authentic to kind of watch that, right? So I think whatever you do, you just have to be honest and real about the situation with your staff, with your clients, with your prospects. You know, if there's people that, you know, that are in your pipeline, you know, I think you need, or even clients, you need to be communicating with them right now about what's going on with their cases. If there's delays in, you know, and speaking with adjusters and stuff, you just need to be honest about it and just kind of, you know, be upfront with everyone. You know, and I'm looking at this as like there's some positive stuff about this too, right? You know, because, you know, I think for the longest time, even myself, we're so focused on work, you know, like these are like being quarantined. It's amazing. Like my kids ask me, my 17-year-old boy, my 15-year-old boy asked me, hey dad, you want to go play wiffle ball? Right? I haven't had them ask me that for like, I don't know, 8 years, right? You know, so now I stop what I'm doing. I'm like, sure, let's go play wiffle ball, right? So you're now you're able to build more bonds with even your family and your children, and you know, so take advantage of this situation, but be authentic.
So jump into that, how to take advantage of the situation. You know, what I've advised my clients very specifically is now the time to over communicate with your clients. You know, I've always said people, you know, when you die, nobody cares how much money you have when you die. You know, you're going to be judged by how you treated people. Fall back on that. I think it's a tremendous opportunity to acknowledge, you know, the business that you have. Stay in touch with with your clients. Go out of your way to, pick up the phone and call them and say, how are you doing? Your case is okay. Nothing's going to happen to it. We're working. Mm-hmm. And the firms, I think, that take that approach and reassure their clients in a very overzealous way, will win. And that's what I mean by reaching out and doing things different. The best case that's going to come into somebody's office is through referral. I mean, right. Look, I invented lawyer advertising. I booked more advertising than almost anybody on the planet. But the truth of the matter is you look at television, you look at web, you look at a number of different things. The best case that comes into somebody's office is through referral. You got a stable client, you usually have a complex, situation. So double down on that. Does that cost money to do? It costs effort and time.
Right.
And I think that, anybody that's listening to this, immediately go to the phones, immediately be proactive with your cases. People will remember that you did that. There's a lot of chatter amongst people. When your lawyer calls you at 7 o'clock at night or, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, just to check in on you, that goes a long ways. But what you're really doing is you're drumming up business. I mean, if you don't look at it that way, then you're really foolish.
I completely agree with you there. I think right now is the time, and we've had clients that have actually been scaling up and hiring people till this time happen. But it's a good opportunity for them to use that staff to reach out, fine tune the process and get with, right? We had clients where they couldn't keep up, right? Where cases were running a little behind, where the files were stacking up on the desk. So now's the time to really jump in there, give that really hand-holding process and help the clients out, reach out to the clients, get on phone calls with them, like use that staff to really build up the customer service and get referrals and give them the best service they can get. Because right now you're not being bombarded by the additional 200 calls per day that you have to process. Concentrate on the clients that you do have, continue growing those, because keeping those is more important and a lot cheaper than trying to go out and get new ones, especially right now. Like going after, concentrate on that pipeline that you have, really give them the best possible service. And now that you have even more time as an attorney, when you're settling, you have more time to actually go out and see what's the maximum I could get for this person.
Well, the truth of what you're saying is marketing. That's continuing your marketing. And, we're used to paid marketing. This is, right. This is sweat equity. And I don't think that anything can really replace sweat equity. But guess what will happen? When this crisis is over, and let's say it's over in 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whenever it is, you will have adapted a new way of doing business. And you have to recognize that. That's why this is an opportunity. When you talk about opportunity, opportunity is change and change in direction. And this is forcing you to do that. It's pretty logical. My financial advisor he's never been so active. I'm sure he wants to, keep me quiet and keep me, focused and not make me panic. But it shouldn't feel good when he called me or emailed me, because I just felt a little bit more important. And I'm sitting here on a podcast telling you that. Mm-hmm. Lance Birch from Schwab, doing a good job. But the truth is that's what this is all about. What we're doing right now and what we're telling people to do is imperative. How many people have told you to double down on calling out and reassuring and holding people? Or are you going to sit in your office and continue to panic?
Right.
I'll tell you this too, and this just happened. Like the other day I called Harlan, right? I just called him out of the blue, and the first thing I said, this has nothing to do with business. I don't need anything from you at all. I was just thinking of you, and I thought I would check in, right? And I meant it. Like you just popped into my mind. I'm like, let me call Harlan, and we talked for about 15 minutes, and that was that, and I've been doing that. If people come into your mind, call them. I think this is a good opportunity for you to reach out to some of your old clients that have settled in the past. Just reach out, have somebody from your firm that's working remotely, call up, check on them, see how they're doing, right? That's not a bad thing, because those are the people that are going to refer you more business in the future, right? And I don't think you do it from that angle. I think you genuinely should, care about your clients, right? Because as much marketing that I do in SEO and trying to game the Google system and the algorithm, The other day, you know, my wife was like, hey, my friend Jenna her husband was in a car accident. Who do you recommend? You know what I mean? After all that, and what I try to do, getting people to go to Google and search for that #1 listing and click on it and convert, you know, I'm just like, call Emery Ledger or whatever, you know? You know, so like it's just, you know, there's always going to be that word of mouth, right? And so if you're top of mind.
I guarantee you what we're talking about is marketing. And we're not talking about, you know, spending more money, which I do believe you should do right now. I think absolutely put your foot on the pedal and keep it on the pedal and move forward in a very, very quick and very decisive way. Absolutely to grab market share. I'm in the middle of writing an article for National Trial Lawyers, the big cats and the little cats. And now's the time for the little cats to take a bite out of the big cats behind.
The book, yeah.
Called taking market share. So I think we've given the audience some solid direction when it comes to doubling down on your phone calls, doubling down on your feelings, going down on your business. And I truly believe this is solid because people will remember that phone call. I remember when you called me, Jason. I remember when Lance called me. I remember when Glenn called me. You know, it's about helping, making people feel good. And people want to do business with people they feel good, but they also trust.
Right.
And so what are some other tactics that we can, you know, that we can bestow?
I've been seeing attorneys actually dive more into social media with that authenticity. So, which is surprising. Like, you know, I'll jump in and out of social media. Jason's really good with it, but seeing some of the attorneys actually going on there and taking that organic approach on their own, when for some time they had the fear, there's like, all right, I got to pay somebody to do this. I mean, you know, it's social for a reason, but I've been impressed with seeing some law firms actually taking the question and answer, going in, pulling up their sleeves and kind of looking like a newscaster on social media and really spreading the word, not really selling themselves, but being authentic, just saying, look, hey, we're all going through something like this. Let's be positive. Offering suggestions, also saying, you know, being creative with the practice areas that they may be able to help with. So obviously, since no one's on the road, there aren't car accidents, but there are going to be other types of claims that can come out of this. So it's a good opportunity for attorneys to really think of those practice areas that they weren't concentrating on so much to build that business up during this time.
I think the greatest opportunity here is to humanize yourself. And that's, I think, what you're saying, which we're back to marketing, back to putting yourself in front of people. Disingenuine people are spotted very, very easily. And what's going to come out of here is the genuine, the sincere, the strong. You know, our friends in the industry, you know, many people like Paul Faust, Michael Mogul, a number of people are using the word leadership. And they're taking a leadership position. You know, we take a leadership position, you know, in our home. When you know, Jason, when your son came over and said, let's play wiffle ball, you know, how you responded to him and how you dealt with him is leadership. You know, you're the leader of your house. You know, when Brooklyn comes over to you and says, Daddy, what can I do here? You know, how you respond and how you deal with it will define you.
And her.
I think that's the most significant things that are going to come out of this. But let's stick with the opportunities. Let's add some more value to, you know, to what everybody's doing.
So I think I've got a good one here. And this is what we're doing internally, right? Now is the perfect time to look for inefficiencies in your business, right? Like really scrutinize, like, you know, what are certain things that you can automate that might save 10% of everyone's time? You know, Alex, we're doing that right now with our whole content system, right? The way in which we generate content, organize it, it all kind of like, we're saving, you know, hundreds of man hours by just kind of automating things because we have time to kind of focus on that. You know, how can you, as, you know, as lawyers, as, you know, successful law firms, start to look at automation? How can you look at inefficiencies in your practice? You know, maybe, you know, have everybody send over a list of 3 things that they feel that they can do to improve their function or their role, and then look at ways to try to improve that, right? So that when you come out of this in 30 or 60 days, now you're working on better systems and processes, right? So that's what we're actually using a consultant right now to kind of help us with that during this time.
Well, the truth of the matter is that people make change when they're in pain.
Yeah.
That's when people make change. That's when some people make decisions. You know, back to the fat cats and the little cats and the medium cats, you know, people are going to change out of pain. And it takes pain to make change. And that's a fact.
Yeah.
So let's deal with that. What is going to come out of here is the strong will survive. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to throw a lot of money at something. You do have to make payroll. You do have to, you know, deal with the cash flow. You do have to, unfortunately, do whatever it takes to stay in business. But you also have to decide how you want to be perceived. This is a tremendous opportunity. Again, I keep using that word, opportunity, because what you just said, Jason, is forcing somebody to scale their business, forcing somebody to do something that's going to affect their business. I think that's positive.
I think it's positive too.
The glass is absolutely half full.
Yep. Even go as far as, you know, having your team, if they're working from home, create training videos on how to use certain software, so that when new people get hired, now there's actually a better system and you can watch the training. You know, there's all kinds of software, Trainual, or, you know, there's all these software services that you can start to create like videos to kind of, you know, scale your business, right? And you during a normal day, you don't ever have the time to do that stuff. But if people are just working remotely from home and the call volumes is light, now's the time to kind of look at that.
Well, there's an old adage, and I'll never forget, you know, saying this a million times. You can work on your business or you can work in your business.
E-myth, yeah.
And people that work on their business prosper. People that work in their business are always struggling to advance the business. You know, like you're in a hole and you can't get out of it. So you keep digging. But this is trying times. You know, it's going to take discipline, and discipline got you, you know, through law school. Discipline got you to where you are now, and so double down on your discipline. You know, that's where I'm coming from, and you know, now's the time. I think this is going to open up tremendous opportunities. You know, you said earlier, people are making videos. I mean, you know, you're forced to make a video, and now all of a sudden, when this is over, you're going to continue to make videos. Right. You see how to prosper.
Consistency. Yep.
You know, just because what's going on here.
Yeah, because you don't realize this, you know, but a lot of people that we work with are very successful in their fields, right? You know, and people, their network of people from high school or family and friends look up to those, in most cases, generally speaking, look up to those people, like they're successful business people, right? You know, so like by you messaging, and even if you're not comfortable, just get on the mic, you know, just get on a camera and just kind of message people, because you don't know, you might totally change someone's perspective in life by kind of, you know, getting out there and talking about what's going on and your thoughts on the matter and being optimistic and getting other people to kind of feel optimistic. You know, that goes a long way. So somebody from high school that's watching your video that has followed your entrepreneurial journey, you know, like people are messaging me saying, what do I think's going on? You know, I'm just trying to just stay positive, right? I mean, that's all we can do. Like I've come from nothing, like, you know, like if everything crumbled and I lost everything, you know, I would be fine because I built it from nothing and I would do it again, right? You know, and that's the attitude that we all have to have.
That's called leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership is defined in many different ways, you know, from, you know, political leadership, you know, all kinds of leadership, leadership of your home, leadership of your, you know, your life. And so, you know, that's, I think, what we're talking about with, you know, with stepping up and making good decisions. But take a deep breath and sit back and say, you know, I'm going to make lemonade today. You know, if you walk around, you know, in doom and gloom, you're going to attract doom and gloom. You know, truthfully, when you can't find toilet paper and you can't find, you know, hand softener, you know, you're going to go into a panic. So you got to get over it. You got to rise to the occasion. Just sit back and think of how many people are panicking. How many of your competitors are not thinking the same way you are? That's what we're talking about when we talk about making moves forward.
Yeah, and those are the same competitors that are afraid to invest in pay-per-click or, you know, even when the market was good, right? So now they're really pulling back. right? And almost ready to shut down, possibly. You know, there's competitors out there that are really not optimistic at all about this, right? So this is the time to have a competitive advantage for sure.
You know, in your business, I think probably, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to throw this out, but I think one of the greatest opportunities that I see, you know, on your side of it, and this is what I'm really telling my clients, you can probably rip this apart, is retargeting. When could it be a better time to retarget your competitors, retarget other sites that have to do with, you know, with people's lives that have to do with accidents and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you feel about that, but, you know, retargeting and getting yourself in front of, you know, people is very, very important. If people aren't coming to your website, go to their website, you know, go to their lives. And I, you know, if pay-per-click isn't working, or I don't know where we all are on pay-per-click, if, you know, people aren't searching for a lawyer, you know, find where they're searching in life and put yourself in front of them. It doesn't have to be if you've been in an accident.
Yeah.
You know, like community service messages that you're putting out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you make advanced moves in this kind of an economy. But in your business, in the digital world, boy, we have never had more opportunities to put ourselves in front of other people, you know, through Facebook, through social media, through, you know, retargeting on your websites. Look, I'm not technical. Mm-hmm. I just call you up and I say, this is where I want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And where I want to get to is I want to reach people and I want to give them a message.
Yeah. Yep. Completely agree. Yep. You know, and it is interesting, you know, like a lot of the clients that we work with, like the moment that this happened, like they're reaching out to us, like, you know, here, we wrote this letter, we want to put it on the front page of our website, you know, we want to put a nice button that talks about, are you affected by this? Click here, you know. And so, you know, that's what you want to do, you know, and you always want to, you know, keep up with what your competitor, like make sure you kind of keep an eye on what your competitors are doing too, for sure, right? You know, with certain tools, like we can, you know, me, Alex, like we are, you know, living in this digital world, right? So we have the tools, we can actually monitor what competitors are doing from a content perspective and stuff. We see those that are actually I hate to say taking advantage of the situation, but taking advantage of the circumstances, right? And so, you know, you should be kind of just keeping an eye on what your competitors are doing. Look at their website, see the messaging that they're putting out there, see the videos that they're doing, watch the social media messaging that they're creating, right? You, like you said, Harlan, you'll see how the leaders really emerge from us.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a little Harlan secret. Actually, it's a Harlan agency, Harlan Network affiliate secret. When a prospect came to visit in Denver, and I did this for over, I don't know, 35 years, what I would do is I'd bring in every member of the team, production, media buying, and so on, and we'd completely do an evaluation of the marketplace, the competitors. And what I did was, I didn't want to copy what other people were doing. I wanted to find out what they weren't doing. And I coined a phrase and I trademarked it. What you don't know, what is it? What you don't know, you don't know.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What that specifically means is that do what they're not doing, but you have to find that out. You know, I got entrenched in intake and conversion. I got entrenched in a lot of things, and I don't spend a lot of time trying to figure out what my competitors, my clients' competitors are doing. But it's obvious what they're not doing, and you fill that void, and that's advertising. It's very important for you to do that right now. You know, you brought up social media. Go on to your competitors' sites. But most importantly, just do what you think is right. And you'll be surprised how far you'll be ahead of everybody else. Most people are sitting on their hands right now because they don't have the advice of you or myself or, you know, other people that have weathered these kind of storms.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, you will be fine.
People are sitting on their hands. That's not the way to go right now.
No, this too shall pass.
you've got to fail to succeed. You know, we've all lived it. You know, back in 2000, I'll just share a person. I'll be vulnerable on this call. In 2001, you know, I was reading a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. I'm not sure if you guys ever read that one, right? And I was inspired as a young kid. I'm like, that's how I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to buy real estate, right? And so I started buying houses, and I started refinancing the houses, and buying more houses and refinance. And eventually I had like 12 houses, right? And I was only like 23 years old in Vegas. And then 2007 came and it hit rock bottom and I lost everything, right? The banks come and knocking at the door, right? And I thought life was over, man. I was feeling as most people are feeling right now. Like there's completely, I was a successful young kid, the kid that all my friends that I went to high school knew. I had 12 houses and, you know, I was living a nice life and I had a business. It's like, and all of a sudden it just came crumbling down, right? And I had to rebuild, right? I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but you have to have the mentality. You have to have the mindset, right? Because I could have easily went the other route and just put my head down, my tail between my legs, and just like gave up on life, right? But I didn't. I pursued it and prevailed, and you know, and you come out stronger, you know. And I don't make the same mistakes. There's an old saying that they say, if you look at life the same way today that you did 20 years ago, you just let 20 years go by, right? Like, you know, that's very powerful, right? You should see the world differently today than 20 years ago, right? And I think you, Harlan, being so experienced in the digital, not the digital, but in the legal space, you've seen this over and over again. So you have that advantage. So it's an honor to kind of have you on this webinar to talk about this, right? Because you kind of know what the future will look like, right? You've seen it.
I appreciate that. I've seen the past. You know, I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock this morning and I was so energetic. I made a couple of decisions yesterday. I decided that I'm going to get back into the boutique agency business. You know, I'm handpicking 3 clients that I'm going to work with. All of my effort in, and I, as you know, have several other clients that I work with, and you know, on strategy. But I want to get back into, you know, my core product is you know, making commercials and making the phone ring. In addition to my strategy business, and I woke up this morning so energetic because I have 2 interviews, you know, from 2 firms that, you know, that I love and have contacted me, and so at 70 years old. I'm excited. I'm excited. And when I decided to do this, it was because I was in pain yesterday. I was watching, you know, the news. I got depressed and I said, what can I do for me? And I said, well, I can go back into business in a strong way and really focus on people I really, really want to work with and have a great time doing it. And so I had a great night's sleep last night. And I woke up this morning, you know, and that lemonade was sitting in front of me. You know? And I think people need our help more now than ever. Now, you know, having people contact me and saying, you know, Harlan, can you help me through this crisis didn't hurt. Obviously, you know, that, you know, a strong impetus, but it really got me to think, what opportunities are there, you know, are out there. And, you know, second thing this morning is I sent out, you know, 3 requests for proposals, you know, from vendors. Couldn't be more excited.
Right.
Yep.
Searching for business. Yeah.
It's all in the mindset. It's all in your mindset. Yep. And the news will definitely give you a bad mindset, you know, if you continue to watch it.
The news is just so depressing.
Yeah, that's how they make money. You don't make money on reporting on positive news, right?
Well, it's interesting because the two biggest areas where television has grown, let's talk network television, has absolutely grown, is in the news arena and the sports arena.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the 2 biggest areas. The rest of television is starting to get very, very fragmented, as you know, with Hulu and Netflix and what they call OTT and what have you. But news has gone, 24 hours. And I think if they could stretch it to 25 hours, they do that. In fact,
it would.
Just waiting for we're here 25 hours a day. Kind of interesting. That'd be interesting, put on your website, 25/8. That would be interesting. You're going to take that idea, aren't you?
Yeah. This has been
great.
really good. This has been great, guys. I enjoyed waking up on a Saturday. Like you said, I went to bed last night. I'm gonna be on a call with those cool dudes tomorrow, man. And we're gonna learn something.
Exciting. I couldn't wait to get in here.
Yeah.
I even brushed my hair.
I see that.
Listen, I had to do my hair also. You can go on my social media. You can see sometimes I do videos early in the morning.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest things I did was in the morning. I said, "Look at my hair; it's out of control, just like your intake."
I remember that.
I love that. I remember that.
I remember that.
That was good.
Thousands of hits, and
it's authentic, right? It's authentic. That's what makes it great. Yep.
Well, mostly, people don't see me without my hair in place. Hey, look, we're all real, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's give the audience 3 takeaways.
3 takeaways. Good. Alex, you go first.
One strong from each of us.
All right. So I think we talked about several, but I think the one that you mentioned, Jason, with grabbing a hold of the current staff that you have and really fine-tuning the current process that you have, going after the pipeline that you currently have, and really dive in and work with them. Continue working hard for the people that you already have as clients, and get those cases closed and get referrals from those people.
I'll go next. I'll save the best for last. All right. So mine is I mentioned this earlier. If you're a writer, that's great. If you're comfortable writing, the only way that you're ever going to get more targeted traffic to your website is by publishing more content. There really isn't no secret to SEO. That's it, right? And that's why Alex has a very successful company, right? Because that's kind of what he provides to the people that don't have the time to write it. But right now you might have some more time. So I would say, start to write content, for the website. Get with your digital team, ask them for the questions that people are typing in. Look at your Search Console report. Look at, what people are searching for. Answer those questions, right? And if you don't like to write, have somebody interview you like this, right? They ask you a question, you record the video. It's every hour long that you create is going to be like 7,000 to 10,000 words of content, right? You can get through a lot. And if you do it every day, you're going to be publishing a lot of content, right? While you're at home, just kind of working remotely. So take that content, because all that content that you're creating right now, 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, are going to be generating leads and cases.
Awesome. Yeah. If you're not a creator, you're a consumer. So this is your time to create.
Yep.
I learned when I was in the service. I know you were in the service as well, Jason.
Yep.
When I reported to boot camp in 1969, I was told that there's only 2 types of people in the world: ers and es, payers, payees, screwers, screwees. And so you have to be an not an e right now. And my big takeaway is take a deep breath. Take stock in what you have. Understand where the world is right now. Be authentic and reach out to as many people through as many means as you possibly can. This is the time for you to do the videos you didn't want to do, or do something to reach people. And it costs nothing to do that through social media. It costs you your time, which I do respect as something and very, very, very valuable. But if cash isn't at hand, simply put out material in a positive leadership way. And as you said, Alex, Jason, get on the phone and call every client. Call them once a day. You'll be amazed at what comes out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome. This was great. Thank you so much, Alex, for setting this up. Thank you, Harlan, for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Harlan. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for you guys waking up early.
Yep. And let's have a great weekend, everyone, okay?
Have a good one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.